Hello, this is What If Ollie, and today today's What If is what if Deku had the Speed Force. I've actually watched through most of the episodes until I lost an RTV. And I've watched all the episodes most of the episodes that you need for a Deku What If. I'm also going to be doing, the next series I'm going to be making, which will probably be in a week or two, probably be a Devil Fruit one, and another one that would start then would be what if Deku, when he got One for All, was transported to the DC universe. It's like the Flash and stuff in the city the Flash lives in Star Labs. So yeah, let's get into it. So, I'm just gonna see if he gets One for All, by the way. What is he going to start off with? So at the age of 9, I'm gonna say there's a Star Labs in this. So he's going through. He has a school trip at Star Labs. Yeah, he gets fed up with, I'm gonna say Kirishima I'm pretty sure he's the guy with the hardening quirk, I think. Yeah, Kirishima was in his school at that time, so he got grouped up with Kirishima, who was a pretty good guy back then, I reckon. And basically, yeah, I'm gonna say, I believe it was Harrison Wells, Eobard Thorne, disguised as Harrison Wells, who got into the My Hero Academia universe, and somehow got transported to their universe. And so he created Star Labs in that universe instead. And what happened was the Star Lab incidents happened while they were taking a tour. So they were allowed to see the diagrams on the new design they were building, which they called, I'm gonna say it's the exact same, the particle accelerator. So Deku, who had an entire notebook full of stuff about the diagrams and some of their machines and inventions and new chemicals and elements they created, so I'm gonna say the particle accelerator happens that night. It was supposed to be having a sleepover over there at Star Labs just to watch the particle accelerator happen, and the particle accelerator explodes. whilst Deku and Kirishima, I'm gonna say, because in the comics, I believe there was the strength force and stuff like that. So Kirishima and Deku, because they were partnered up together, walking through one area, and then, or the chemical area, where then the particle accelerator exploded. So Kirishima and Deku were both covered in chemicals, and two different coloured lightning bolts hit them. So for Deku it was a yellow lightning bolt, and for Kirishima it was, I think I'm gonna say, a red one, because red usually stands for strength sometimes. So they get struck by the lightning, and they both get turned into the coma. So same thing happens as in the Flash, the 9 months. So they're in the same hospital next to each other because they were researching both of them. And Deku, just like the Flash, his heartbeat was unreadable sometimes, like it looked like it stopped. So they upgraded his heart monitor to a superhuman quirk one, like a speed quirk user heart monitor, and his was really high even for a speed quirk user. And Kirishima, his heart was completely normal, except sometimes he gripped the rails on his I don't know what those hospital beds are. I'm just gonna call it a hospital bed. He gripped the metal bars and crushed them. So after 9 months, I'm gonna say they both like the Flash were transported to Star Labs, where they finally woke up. And Harrison Wells, known as Eobard Thawne at this point, and a few other scientists were happy to see them wake up after 9 months. And the scientists then tell Deku, pretty sure I called him a Flash a few times, by accident, and Kirishima their situations and what happened. So because of their unusual reactions, they said they scheduled another quirk test for the both of them, as they knew that Deku was supposedly quirkless and they needed a speed quirk user's heart monitor, and that Kirishima just kept on breaking wells like they were nothing every so often in their comas. And every so often Kirishima also bulked up and then stopped bulking up and stuff like that. And they had said that without any training, it was as if they were weight training for years. Isn't like Deku's muscles were more defined and he was a bit more muscular, and Kirishima was a lot muscular and more defined in his muscles. So basically, they did some tests and they gave Kirishima a normal punching bag that he would use all of his strength from his old quirk test, and he beat up like it was nothing. Then they used one where it was supposedly almost unbreakable, like very, like barely anyone could break it, and he also broke that as if it was like a normal punch for him. And then because of Deku, then Deku could break a, I guess, quirk user ish strength when he was punching a quirk user type punching bag, and he broke that like it was a normal punch. So they already know. Well, they already knew that they were very strong, except Kirishima was hundreds of times stronger than Deku. So they then put them on a track and told them to run as fast as they could. So Kirishima went like superhuman fast, not as fast as Leader, just fast just before Leader's speed. I'm gonna say like 4 this was his maximum, 4 miles per hour behind Leader's maximum, and he had a lot of stamina, like a superhuman amount of stamina as well, or quirk user amount of stamina. And then they tested Deku, like they both had. So when Kirishima was punching the punching bag, he had like I'm gonna say what's colour? A green type spark coming off him every so, like when he was using his strongest punches. And then and I'm gonna say Deku went up to about Mach 4, which is a couple 100 miles an hour. But what I think anyway, maybe even 1,000 or so miles an hour. And Leader's like 50 to 100 miles an hour himself. You can like race a normal car at its top speed. And Kirishima barely. So when Deku was running at his max, he then somehow ran a tiny bit faster, which took him up from where he ran as fast as he possibly could. So he went from Mach 3 without any landing at all, which they were confused about because they were in the same situation. And then once he went up to Mach 4, he started having like yellow sparks flying off him every so often. So they then thought that it was just a quirk mutation, and that Kirishima, or for Kirishima, it was apparently a quirk mutation, or quote unquote quirk mutation. So they classed his as hardening and strength, which I'd probably say would be tank, and then they thought that it gave sorry about that, by the way. I think my voice is cracked. And then they gave and then they thought it gave Deku a speed type quirk, the fastest speed type quirk there ever was. And well, they thought it was a quirk, which it absolutely was not. It was just a power, and it was not a quirk mutation for Kirishima. It was just another power being added on. the strength force, and for Deku the speed force. So I think there was something like defense force. I don't remember. I don't remember the comic, but so yeah, they went outside to meet their parents, and Inko, Deku's mum, came rushing at Deku and started hugging him tight and asking him if he was alright and stuff like that. And then she said that she was proud of him managing to get a quirk, and and then she said she was surprised on what his quirk was. And then for Kirishima, I would say he went up to his mum, I think, and then he told her about his new quote-unquote quirk ability, and then his mum hugged him tightly. Then Deku and Kirishima did a fist bump, and then Deku went back to school and told Bakugo about his new quirk. And then Bakugo didn't believe him and said he could probably only go twice the amount. So Deku brought him out to the field and showed him his new Mark 5 speed, and showed him like the sparks that are flying off him. And then he showed Bakugo Kirishima's new strength quirk, because I'm gonna say they're in the same school. And Bakugo sees him as a rival, and so does Kirishima. I'm gonna say that it's a few years later when it is a few years later of him training his speed, so his now max speed is Mach 5.7. So I'm gonna say that the sludge villain tries to attack him, and Deku easily evades him, and then starts going around in a tornado. And then I'm gonna say that All Might appears saying, "I am here." And then Deku says that he's got it down, and then he goes so fast in that tornado and brings him outside to the point where he literally gets his eyes and teeth rip apart. So the sludge villain is then knocked out and in absolute pain. So All Might backs him up, and then thinks this could be a successor to my quirk, a very good one at that. And then Deku asks for All Might's autograph and asks him if he can become the number one hero with a quirk like his. And All Might says maybe. And then I'm gonna make it a bit different, so the sludge villain does not attack Bakugo. All Might asks Deku to bring these over to the police as fast as he can, because All Might saw Deku's speed, and Deku comes back to All Might, and then All Might asks Deku if he wants to inherit All Might's quirk. So he goes, "Young Midoriya, would you like to inherit my quirk?" And then Deku goes, How is that possible?" And then Deku said, before White can explain, Deku explains how he got his quirk, and that he shouldn't really be asking that. But then White explains his entire quirk anyway, so that Deku then understands. And Deku says, "Yes, I would like to inherit your quirk." So All Might gives him his strand of hair. Deku eats the strand of hair, and then Deku feels different, as if a lightning strike, like his lightning just turned into an electric flame. Like a flame and lightning just collided together. Well, flame and electricity just collided together. So he went for a run and realised that his speed was then Mach 8, which is now the maximum that the Flash at the moment in the CW can reach. So Deku's really happy, and then he notices that in his normal yellow lightning, there was a bit of green lightning in there, well, rushing around him as well. And then All Might asks Deku to do a smash into the air. So Deku shouts, "Smash!" Deku goes, "Smash!" And you can see loads of... So his fist went up faster than anyone in history. And the shockwave is so powerful, you can see there was a bit of like a dent in... Well, you could see a bit of the flames on the sun move around a bit. And All Might was like, "You just became hundreds of times stronger than me." And then Deku was like, "Wow, I didn't know your quirk could make me become this strong." And then All Might has then said, "You are now the strongest in this entire universe." So Deku was really happy about this. So he went for a bit of a run. So what it would be like, Mark 3 would be Mark 8, and he went his max speed and went up to about Mach 16.5, and he'd realised his clothes had started to burn, as his, even though it was a reasonable amount fireproof. So he went to All Might and asked him for a bit of training, and then All Might said, "Yes, you're so powerful you can barely control it, I believe. You may not be able to control it." So so he goes home, tells his mum that his quirk had mutated and given him insane amounts of strength. And his fist, he did notice his fist did break, or his arm did break, but barely, and it already healed by like a millisecond after. He told his mum, All Might had said he is the strongest in the world, and his mum gave him the tightest hug ever. And then for 10 months, I'm gonna say he knows Lita, and that he'd been training with Lita for about 10 months, and he was training on Deku Beach, training with Miria and Lita and his big brother. So the 10 months are up, and it was time for the entrance exam. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.